Political content creators are always really interesting to me. With the insane rise of politics in pretty much every crevice and everything you could ever enjoy, it was bound for content creators to have their fair go. But out of every single content creator I've seen that has gone into politics, I've never seen one not be called the worst things in the English dictionary. Racist, assaulter, terrorist, Nazi, fascist, fat. It seems like being a political content creator is like ending up in one of Dante's Inferno's layers of hell. But there's one creator who, if I had his life, I think I would genuinely lose my mind. I think I would go insane. Like, I don't think I could do it. I think I would probably kill my Dean Withers. If you don't know who that is, then fuck you. You're not a real Advocate. You're not part of the man army. I've talked about him before in my Unfuck America video. A great video. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out and maybe come back. You know, it might add some good context, and I love money. But if you've done that and you're back and you're still a little bit confused, or you fucking hate me and you haven't done either one of those things, he's a political TikTok content creator who has amassed over 4 million followers on the platform. And if you have any affiliation or you've even thought about looking up potentially anything relating to politics at all, you've definitely seen him. You're probably most familiar with either his time on Jubilee or his shitty, terrible live streams that pop up on everyone's For You page that are like, Trump supporters, debate me. And it's just the most boring content you've ever seen. Now, recently he's been getting a lot of shit for some clips that have been taken from one of his recent live streams where he talked about the situation with Charlie Kirk. Yeah, we're talking about that in this video. But a lot of people have been using this as an excuse to bring up every single little thing that they can hate about him. And it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. Guru scams, faking Native American ancestry, vaping, doxing, bullying, not being funny, being ugly, being stupid, being bald. The list goes on. But with everything going on with him recently, I haven't really seen anyone on YouTube talk about it specifically. And I'm not too sure why. I feel like it'd be a pretty good video. That's why I'm doing it here. Make sure to subscribe. So I'm going to try my best to summarize everything that everyone is saying and give my take and my perspective on it. And this isn't one of my standard why everyone hates videos that I have been doing for some time. The difference is because I'm gonna be racist, because I'm gonna try my best to give my personal spin on it and be somewhat biased and kind of maybe be a little asshole, maybe be a little silly goofy guy. Make sure to hit that like button. But before we can really get into it, let's break down who the fuck this guy is and see the man behind the meme, behind the Wojak. Dean Withers really got his big blow up from his time appearing on Jubilee videos. More specifically, the series Surrounded. If you don't know what Jubilee is, imagine the biggest cesspool of conflicting ideologies and just the grossest pit of despair that sick fucks like you probably like watching. I like watching them actually. They're kind of fun. The series I'm talking about specifically, Surrounded, is a really popular show. One of their biggest and one of their most prolific and talked about currently. The concept's really simple. You just get someone in the middle of a room with a specific ideology and then you surround them with 20 people of opposing ideologies and they debate and ask questions, and it's just a huge clip farm shit show. Dean gained a lot of support and followers from his time on the first Charlie Kirk episode, garnering a real supportive and dedicated fan base pretty much from the jump. He's one of the few people on that episode who's actually pretty well spoken and knew what the fuck he was talking about. Also, it didn't help that he's not that bad looking. And so a lot of people on TikTok started making edits of him and started touting him as, you know, that guy, the GOAT, as some people would say. A lot of people call him the TikTok Hassan, except the one distinction I have between them is he's just so boring. But from this instant popularity that he gained from Surrounded, he got into his first controversy almost immediately. Old clips and screenshots of Dean saying the N-word and other slurs started circulating a lot around social media. And also, if you haven't picked up, Dean is a very staunch leftist. He's, you know, he backs the blue, but he used to not. He used to be a very avid MAGA and Trump supporter. And so a lot of these clips also circulated and got him into some hot water off the jump. Now, in my opinion, this was actually kind of great for Dean. The reason for this is because he was able to shift his persona on TikTok, on social media, from just a guy who's kind of smart and kind of good looking to someone who has experience with going away from the pipeline, the evil MAGA pipeline, and transitioning into a alpha Chad. But these controversies will come back up to haunt him later in this video. You'll see. So now that we kind of have a good idea who this guy is, let's start talking about why specifically people hate him. So I don't know if you guys heard, but recently something terrible has happened. Just a massive creator has passed away, and sadly, we all have to, you know, just deal with the fact that the creator who passed was too mad.
See you tomorrow.
Sorry, it's not funny at all. Genuinely, I'm sure you guys have heard that Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September 10th of this year. He was doing a political event at Utah Valley University, and you may have whatever opinions you want of him or this incident. I will assure you that no matter what opinions you have, there's someone who always has the same opinion or is always against you or a variation of either. This was a massive day on social media and just in culture in general, and there were opinions everywhere. And Dean was another one of these opinions and or feelings. And just like everyone else, he obviously had to have his own opinion and, you know, talk his shit. Just like for some reason, every white guy thought they had to. Like, this has nothing to do with anything, but genuinely, I saw people with like 12 followers come out and say, okay, guys, I feel like I need to speak up. Just dumb as shit. At the time, Dean was on TikTok live just doing his normal shtick when he heard that Charlie Kirk got shot. After hearing about this, he immediately started to tear up and had a very emotional response. He started crying and just completely breaking down on stream. And a lot of people had issue with this reaction. Tweets, TikTok, YouTube videos, shit, even Instagram Reels started popping up, calling him fake and a grifter and, you know, a traitor. And from the response to these clips, a lot of stuff that people have kind of just been keeping under the surface has started to boil up. Now, I'm not trying to get too deep into politics because I don't want anyone to call my employer, but I will be talking a little bit about Charlie Kirk more in depth later into this video because it's important, mainly because most of the people who are watching it now will probably be clicking off, so I'll probably be fine. But since Dean has made a series of responses regarding this reaction, and he has given reasons as to why he broke down the way he did. His two main reasons were, one, his best friend Parker was also at the event, another TikTok debater and live streamer. Parker and Dean have a history of debating Charlie Kirk multiple times, and Parker was there to do it again, but sadly he was in the line while seeing Charlie Kirk. You know. The second one was Dean was worried and felt bad for all the kids in the audience, and at the time believed that Charlie Kirk's family was also there in attendance and had to watch that. Later found out they weren't, but still at the time there's a lot of misinformation coming out. But these responses didn't really aid or quell any of the massive hate floods that Dean has been experiencing. And you might be wondering, why are people upset? You're not really explaining it. And that's a really good point. Yeah, that's what I thought, you fucking pussy. Okay, yeah, no, I fucking hate. Look at you, you fucking stupid hat. You fucking idiot, ugly, fucking stupid, fucking stinky fucking.
Who the fuck is this nigga?
Now, from how I understand it, the main reason why a lot of people, especially people in marginalized communities, were so upset with Dean's response was because Charlie Kirk was not really the most favorable guy in these communities. He was known for being extremely sexist, homophobic, transphobic, hydrophobic, and pretty much every phobic you could be. And so a lot of people in these communities saw Dean's response as kind of a backstab or proof that he was never really for them or for these communities that he said he was. And with a lot of his response clips being more of a, if you don't agree that all political violence is bad, get out, or you don't follow in line with exactly what I think, then you should get out, came across as somewhat hurtful to some people in these communities. And it made people look back on his career, feel like he's extremely disingenuous, and his whole gimmick of being, you know, for everyone and being for equality was more of a shtick, less than something he actually believed. But this all culminated in the recent weeks. There's been a lot of clips of Dean just being the most annoying fuckboy of all time. Like, I've seen clips of Dean pretending to be Native American, saying that he's from a secret indigenous tribe in Utah. That's a fucking quote. And he's ashamed to admit it because he doesn't want to be seen as one of those white people. And you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And a lot of people finding his old former persona where he was a self-help Andrew Tate type guru, where he is just the biggest fucking asshole and just piece of shit ever. Not even in like a charismatic, funny way, just in a sad loser kind of way. Now, the severity of these two things are kind of up in the air. I don't think it's a huge deal. I just think it's kind of embarrassing for him. I would be so embarrassed, I would probably end myself. And they really just paint him more as a fucking loser than an actual evil person. But that's kind of where the embarrassing but stupid shit ends, and it actually gets a little bit more serious, as we'll see later on. The next parts are pretty bad. On July 4th of this year, Dean Withers was on live stream doing what he does best, debating Trump supporters. And a random father decided to join this and try to debate Dean on some trans rights issues, saying that a lot of trans people are how do I put this politely, pixel drink supporters. I feel like that's a nice way to put it. And this eventually led Dean to bring up Trump's weird predatoriness with minors, more specifically his affiliation with pageants, children pageants. And Dean brought up how the president would go into the changing room of Miss Teen USA pageants and try to get a look-see. And this eventually turned into both these people at the exact same time having two different thoughts about whatever conversation they're having. They're having two different conversations at the same time. It's insane. Like, the father on call was making one point and responding to something completely different, and Dean was making another point and responding to something else completely different. It gets bad. The father in this clip was expressing that he believes that it's the parents' discretion or to consent to allow the children to be in these pageants and to allow things like this to happen. Not saying that he would allow it, not saying that he's for it, but it is up to the parents to decide whether or not they're okay with that. And what Dean was asking is if he would allow the president, or old man Trump, to go into these pageants to spy on his kid. And I'll explain more later while we're talking about this, but this got taken completely out of context against Dean. The starting clip that I'm about to explain is just terrible. I'll show you it after this, but it's bad. And this eventually led Dean to ask his audience live to find public information about this father to try to call his local CPS to get his kids taken away.
You're going to tell me that the parents of the teenagers aren't there either? I mean, I wouldn't send my kid to a pageant by themselves.
Do you think that a parent can consent to a teenager being perved on by an old man?
If they were telling me that's the whole point of a beauty pageant is people looking at teenagers clammed up, dude. I don't know what else to tell you. I think they're weird in the first place.
So you're a father.
You're glorifying young women and children in the first place.
So you're a father of a young daughter. Do you think you have the right?
I'm not.
Is that a young son?
Yes.
Do you think that you have the right, as the father of that son, to consent to having older people take pictures of your son while your son is naked?
If I was dumb enough to send my kid in, it's no different than a baby commercial for diapers.
Can you answer my question? Do you think that you have the right to consent to 65-year-old men looking at your son while he's naked?
I wouldn't allow it.
Do you think that you have the right? Do you think that you have the right to allow it? Do you think if you did allow it, that you would be violating the consent of your child?
They have no choice in the matter whatsoever. It's my decision as the parent. And I wouldn't put my kid in that situation. That's why I think pageants are weird in the first place. I would never...
Amen. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I think that you don't deserve to have any custodial rights over your child. So for those watching, their handle is it's going to be their handle. If there happens to be anybody in here that's good at has like facial recognition software,
you can find me. It's fine. Nothing I said was wrong. Okay, I just said that the kid doesn't get to make the decision.
What's your name?
I would never put them in that situation.
Okay, what's your name?
And why are you trying to dox people, dude? That's weird.
Because I want to find who you are so I could call CPS and have them take your child away.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure you would like to try to do that.
Yes, I would. So,
they would never even do it. That's the best part.
Okay. What's your name?
Which I don't... wait. Which I don't think I have to explain why this is so... bad. Why this is so dangerous? Why this is terrible? Why do you do that? Why? I really don't think I have to explain why both people in this are fucking stupid. I don't want this to come across like I'm fully in support of this father. He's genuinely a fucking idiot. In this debate and following debates that occurred after this whole situation happened, he has gone on to consistently defend Trump going into these changing rooms of these pageants. And there's one clip where him and his wife come back on stream to talk to Dean, and they say that these girls being preyed upon by Trump is kind of like a business exchange where Trump gets to look at these girls and get the experience. They get some kind of benefit out of it. Maybe they'll place higher on the pageants. What?
There was some transaction here that was true between Trump and these 13-year-olds where
business transactions, networking transactions.
Yeah, you referred to him perving on naked 13-year-olds as a business transaction.
That's not what I said. You're twisting my words.
So then what are you referring to as the transaction?
I'm referring to the transaction of him interacting with these women backstage as them getting some
when they didn't have any clothes on when they were in their dressing rooms?
How do you know they were naked?
Because he said they were naked.
Were you there?
Genuinely, these people are so just insane with the delusions of obsession towards Trump that they are probably very dangerous. Genuinely, probably very dangerous. But I don't think that gives Dean the right to call his audience to find information about this family and put it publicly for people to use and exploit. And yes, I know it's not the traditional form of doxing where you find someone's private information that they don't want and then express it into a public medium, but it's still doxing. It's finding information someone might not want to be openly available for millions and using it and expressing it and showing it with malicious intent. That's the definition of doxing. It's right there. And I wish I could express how insane it is. I hope you understand how insane it is, because I just don't think I can get my feelings and my thoughts out clearly about this. It's genuinely, I haven't seen anything like this from such a public figure, such a well-respected figure that is not really in the nitty-gritty, gross, dark parts of the internet. Genuinely appalls me. I haven't seen something like this since like a 50-viewer streamer did that to some fucking commentary loser. It's actually insane to me. And so obviously this clip blew up. Dean asking for the docs of his dad obviously blew up, especially in right-wing circles. But the clip is so bad, and it genuinely impresses me how Dean even constructed this sentence to look good at all. It's so miraculous. I'll show you the clip right now because it is bad. It looks so much worse than the actual conversation. The actual situation is bad, but this clip in an echo chamber is fucking terrible. It's genuinely evil shit if taken out of context.
To allow it? Do you think if you did allow it, that you would be violating the consent of your child?
They have no choice in the matter whatsoever. It's my decision as the parent, and I wouldn't put my kid in that situation. That's why I think pageants are weird in the first place. I would never.
I think that you don't deserve to have any custodial rights over your child. Well, if there happens to be anybody in here that's good at has like facial recognition software,
You can find me. It's fine. Nothing I said was wrong.
Okay,
I just said that the kid doesn't get to make the decision.
What's your name?
I would never put them in that situation.
Okay, what's your name?
And why are you trying to dox people, dude? That's weird.
Because I want to find who you are so I could call CPS and have them take your child away from you.
And the people took this clip, especially people who hate Dean or people on the right, took this clip and made it look so much worse than it was. It was already bad, but they made it look so much worse. They made it kind of out like Dean was the term? Pixel drink supporter. Yeah. They made it really, really bad. And honestly, it does kind of sound like that, even though I know the full context, but out of context, which is how most people saw this clip, it sounds really bad. And obviously Dean responded and apologized for his actions and calling for the docs. But the issue I have with this, and this is the issue I have about Dean and all of his responses, everything he does, he has this air of smugness. Like, yeah, I'm the smartest person in the room at all times. But it doesn't, to me, come across like a real, humble, genuine response. It just feels like a smug asshole who's like, yeah, I know I did something bad, but I won the debate. Yeah, I'm the smartest guy in the room at all times. I won the debate. I was right. See, this father that I doxed, I was right about it.
I would really appreciate it if any of you guys happen to use Twitter frequently to please be a spreader of truth over there. I would truly ask that of you guys. It looks like the far right mob on Twitter has decided to truly take their pitchforks and raise them high in the air against me for a lot of things that are just completely false. They're painting this man as a Jesus character. We even see people associated with Destiny saying that nothing what he says was wrong because of an out of context clip. So, disseminating the facts related to what her and her husband agreed to, and I've said publicly. And then also the fact that, I agree that's not what my reaction should have been, and I could acknowledge that.
And I'm not trying to say that any of the hate or retaliation that Dean has been facing, like doxing, death threats, anything in between is fair or justified at all. It's absolutely not. None of it's okay. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve any backlash like this at all. But what I am saying is that when he's called out for being an idiot, or people join his live stream or making fun of him, or calling him a weird freak for doxing or trying to dox these parents, he shouldn't have this air of smugness like, listen guys, I was right, so cut it out. You can't bring it up. I already apologize. Like, I think it's completely fair for him to get made fun of, and even if he was right in the debate, which objectively he was, these parents are fucking insane, he doesn't get to take the high road and act like he is some savior, because even though he tried to dox these people, he was still right about the debate. It just kind of annoys me a little bit. Maybe it's his tone. I don't know. It doesn't really feel like he genuinely understands why people are upset, especially when he's talking about it and making videos about it. And he's not even showing the right clips. He's not showing the clips of him actively sounding like a fucking freak. Also, I forgot to mention it, but I put shelves up. I made those. So let me know I did a good job in the comments. I got a bunch of people saying I need to put vinyls up. So it's pretty cool. Now, the last big thing I've seen a lot of people talk about in relation to Dean and his controversies has been the Unfuck America situation. If you don't know what that is, I made a video on it, so you should go check that out, please. But I'll give a brief rundown. In April of this year, the Unfuck America tour had started coming out. And if you don't know what that is, it's a tour that had a lot of leftist creators, specifically on TikTok, that were planning on following around Charlie Kirk from campus to campus to actively debate him and try to do what he did best against him. But this tour got a lot of controversy almost immediately and was shut down after their first stop. Controversy came from the creator of the tour, Lee Cohen Sanchez, because she went on a fan's live stream and had some very disrespectful language towards a panel of black women that were on there. And a lot of people found problems with this, along with a bunch of other issues about how the company and the organization was run. run. A content creator on TikTok named Peyton Van Ness, who's supposed to be on the tour, made a massive series of TikToks about it, and thus the tour lost pretty much all steam. Now, people like Destiny tried to continue the tour, but it didn't really pan out. And Dean got a lot of flack for this because of his response towards this situation. He tried his best to stay away from everything in the public eye, and he didn't really address it until Peyton showed screenshots of him talking about it and knowing about it, but acting like he didn't know about it at all in the public eye. Just seemed very two-faced and like he was trying to avoid all controversy for an issue that, from his public reception and how he kind of framed himself, should be a slam dunk for him to side with everyone who disagrees with their actions. But when Dean got called out for his response to Unfuck America, he decided to distance as much as possible and continued to denounce it, even though it was kind of shown what his real feelings and opinions were, at least behind the scenes. Check out my full video. I think it's pretty good if you want more context, but I think all this adds to the original context and the original part of this video, what I was talking about, the Charlie Kirk aftermath. So going back to what I talked about with the original Charlie Kirk response and all of Dean's responses following that, and the general explosion that was the hatred that came in from Dean's audience and people not even in Dean's audience, I kind of want to unpack that more now that the whole context is around. A lot of people who aren't really associated with specific groups or kind of follow in the same mental as the people who are hating on Dean have seen this response from his fans and just general people who are not big fans of his. And they've been criticized a lot for making fun and mocking and denouncing Dean for having a pretty normal human response, somewhat. And on the surface, it does kind of seem like an insane mob of people just kind of shitting on a guy for being sad because someone died and his friends might have gotten hurt. And I will say, not to be a huge fence sitter, hashtag moist critical, but I do think both sides have merit to them. I think objectively, it's fine for Dean to cry and be upset about Charlie Kirk, a guy that he has done many collaborations with, and his best friend Parker being there, potentially getting shot and or killed. Both those are completely okay. But I think the people who are shitting on Dean's former fans, or just people who have problems with him in general, are failing to see is that Dean, objectively, is a grifter. Having one of the main people represent and defend your demographic, be someone who is so easily swayed and doesn't really stand on anything, kind of sucks. And I can completely understand the thought process and the feelings behind seeing someone who's supposed to represent you and supposed to defend your group of people get so emotional and so torn up over just the worst person for you and your demographic and your group, especially when this type of emotional response was not shown for similar events that happen to other people in your group. Like a lot of people have mentioned, Dean has never really had this visceral response during school shootings, anything to do with Palestine, Ukraine, or anything along those lines. It's truly just because of Charlie Kirk and the situation involving him, which again, on a person by person basis, I think that's completely fine. But I think there's a cognitive dissonance between the two people who are arguing against each other. Dean is kind of phrasing this as more of a YouTube drama issue. He's defending his position like he would a normal controversy like he has done in the past by acting like he is objectively right, and if you don't agree, you're a fucking idiot. And as a person by person basis, it's completely fine if he wants to have this reaction to this news or anything that happened. I'm sure some people, but I don't think the average person will objectively fault him for that response. The issue that's a bit more nuanced that comes from this is that Dean tries to frame himself or tries to give off the appearance, or he's been touted by a bunch of people as a symbol for these underprivileged groups that don't really have good representation. And so when they see this symbol or this person who is supposed to represent them and stand for them and be for them get so emotional and kind of somewhat side with someone who has been fighting against them and their causes and their measures for basically his entire career, it does feel like a backstab, but I can completely understand that. It's a difference between the man and the symbol. Not trying to make fucking Dean Withers sound like Superman, because he's not, but it is kind of in the same vein. The symbol that Dean is trying to present himself as a massive oracle for different types of groups of people, is not the person that is getting criticized. I hope that makes some kind of sense. I don't know. But let's get into my final thoughts. What I really think about everything involving Dean Withers and everything that has come up from this event. I think Dean Withers as a creator is very grifty. He does whatever he can to appeal to his audience that he has gained not justified means. What I mean is, while yes, he does raise a lot of money for good causes, he does good things in that same realm, and he does try to preach a good message, it's not genuine. Like, yes, there's videos of him at Charlie Kirk debates, talking to people, trying to change their mind, but that's not the same as going out there and standing in the protests and fighting for what you truly believe. Most of the time, Dean is just on TikTok live debating with Trump supporters pretty much all day, 24/7. And then eventually he'll fuck up and then have to apologize for it immediately after. And then it just continues that spout of constantly losing followers, and the ones who stay are truly drinking that white boy Kool-Aid. This eventually leads into him becoming less of a political activist or someone who's trying to fight against the injustices that he believes are important to fight against, and more of just a live streamer. Like, he was so willing to say that unfuck America and going against Charlie Kirk is the most important evil on earth, and he needs to fight against that. But then as soon as there's any slight controversy, he just jumped ship, shit talked it, and then never did anything like that again. And if Charlie Kirk or someone else is just the pure evil of the world and fighting against it's the most important thing, why would you jump ship at any sign of controversy? There are so many better options. There's so many better things you could do. It just eludes me. And there's important context that I failed to mention earlier involving his guru scheme thing. Right around the time that crashed and burned and his old TikTok persona didn't really work out, that's when he started his new TikTok account, and that's when he started the new Dean Withers brand of being a raised right-wing conservative kid who gets transitioned and realizes the light and sees that, you know, leftist beliefs are really the right ones, while through his entire career not supporting these communities in any genuine or meaningful way. While yes, him saying things and him supporting these communities is important, it doesn't mean much when the words don't outweigh the actions. His words don't mean shit or do shit when he doesn't act, when he doesn't do anything. And when he does do things and he gets a little bit of controversy or a little bit of criticism, he jumps ship and goes back to his safe space, which is debating and platforming crazy people on his live stream. Because no matter how much you are anti something and you don't like it, if you are platforming it and you use it and you allow them to have a massive platform to spew this speech, it's a problem. And Dean is so similar to Jubilee in that way, because Jubilee also sucks for this reason. Also, Dean's live stream format reminds me of Steven Crowder's Change My Mind, the whole meme thing, and you know how good that is. Oh, that was a lot of fucking talking. Holy shit. I don't think Dean's a bad guy at all. I think he's just someone who has found his bag, found his niche, and is just trying to live in it. But the problem with his bag or niche is that he has to actually be a good person. And that's difficult for a lot of people to put in that extra effort of being an outstanding person. And honestly, sometimes I feel really bad for the kid. And I see how much money he's making that I just don't care anymore. Another thing, the clip of him talking about Charlie Kirk or whatever when he got, was really funny to me because people just kept on donating on TikTok Live. And if you aren't aware, on TikTok Live, if someone donates, they can put like a hat or something on your head. And it was just him crying with an AR cowboy hat. It was just the funniest shit I've ever seen.
I'm sorry that you guys have to see me like this.
But I think that's going to be it for me today. I appreciate you watching. Check out my video on the Unfuck America tour. It's pretty good. If you want a less serious video, I'll have some of those links somewhere. I really appreciate you. It means a lot to have you guys here, and it's pretty freaking awesome. You guys are really cool. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. I am so bad at tweeting, but I'll get better. I'm really funny on there, I promise. I'm just really bad at tweeting. I'm planning on live streaming again here on YouTube, so subscribe for that. Please subscribe. I love when the number goes up. Watch the next video. That helps me the most if you just stay and watch the next video and recommend it or whatever. And yeah, I think that's it for me today. I appreciate you watching, and I think I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!
Breakfast with a bitch named Tiffany, Wrist gave me stink cause it's ivory, Got your mommy with me now, irony, Trying to pipe my dentist, fake a cavity, What? I got my panties up, and you withdrew. I got my panties up, and you withdrew. I got my panties up, and you withdrew. I got my panties up, so I'm the center of attention, and I'm in your girl's mention. Might just have to